Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ricky Gervais. Good to
see you, man. Thanks for coming on the show. Pleasure to be
So,
here.
we just had Sir David Frost on the program. You and him, you rolled together.
I've met him once at a Snoop Dogg concert. True. Honestly, it was at Live 8, and we went out to the sort of like the VIP area. Oh, yeah. I don't mix with ordinary people anymore. And he was sitting there, right in front of the speakers, which it was the loudest thing I'd ever heard.
Snoop Dogg is on stage.
Unbelievable. And he's there, and he's got earplugs in, and he was just nodding along. I mean, I think in his head he was singing along to all the mother and he was thinking, yeah, there are too many bitches in the world. And he was, you know what I mean? He was getting into it in his own way. Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine something like Live 8 would be a very bizarre experience, backstage more so than in front of it.
It was very strange because I'd never. I mean, there was like 200,000 people there, and it was going out to like 1 billion people across the world. And I went out and introduced REM, and then someone shouted, "Do the dance." And I thought, well, no, of course not. Don't be ridiculous. But then 200,000 people booing. I want to be loved. So I went, no way, it's beneath me, boo.
Do you have to learn how to deal with that kind of fame?
Yeah, I suppose so. I gave me the creeps at first, after The Office broke. I think because I came sort of, you know, from nowhere, people were, who is this bloke? And also the British press are voracious. They're sort of, you know, and it gave me the creeps because I never. I was never into that sort of celebrity culture, and people on the front of papers were like paedophiles and rapists. And do you know what I mean? I thought, people, what was this attention? Why are people knocking on my door?
Yeah.
And it just sort of scared me a bit, and I didn't really know how to deal with it. And I'm better now because I don't go out.
You're a shut-in. That's healthy.
Yeah. I have got shutters on my house. It's like my whole house is a panic room. I'm like Howard Hughes.
Is that where extras came from? I mean, because, you know, do the dance on stage. If you, I mean, your character with is he having a laugh? You become famous all of a sudden for this thing.
I've always been fascinated with it, and The Office came out of that spate of docu-soaps and reality game shows where ordinary people, you know, got their 15 minutes of fame, and they were famous overnight. And the first thing they did was got an agent, and then went into obscurity. And I was always fascinated with those people. Sort of, where are they now? And it got worse and worse, and now everyone's famous, everyone's on telly. And I think Andy Warhol's prophetic statement was just, I think even he didn't realise how true that was going to become. And now it's hit, you know, North America. And I think of people like Posh and Becks. When are they going to be famous enough? Aren't there enough photographs of them? So it came from that. It came with people's obsession with fame, needing more, people wanting to be famous more and more. They did a survey at a university amongst 10-year-olds. I don't know what 10-year-olds were doing at university. It's ridiculous.
Very, very smart.
It's way too young.
Yeah.
It's terrible marks. Terrible marks. Except one who was really good with an abacus. He was a genius, but he was no good at the disco. He was a fool. They asked them what they wanted to be when they grew up, and they said famous. Not even a pop star, just famous.
Well, I mean, you're famous. Do you ever pull aside these kids and say, trust me, it isn't what you think it is?
Well, I always knew it wasn't, and I've never respected someone just because I recognise their face, you know, and it's getting to the point where people have more respect for someone who won a reality game show than someone who, you know, cured AIDS. It's ridiculous. And I'm always very conscious of, if I am famous, to be famous for something. And I think that's the important thing. There's no problem with fame being upshot of what you do. I've got no problem with actors or, you know, people. But you've got to see a difference between someone who wins Big Brother and Robert De Niro. You know?
Sure.
There is a difference. And
Robert De Niro asked you for directing advice?
Well, he appeared in extras, and I wasn't in the scene. I was directing, he was in a scene with Stephen. And I came over to Stephen and said, oh, you want to try that thing, da-da-da. And as I was walking back to the monitor, Robert De Niro went, how about me? I said, sorry? He went, how about me, am I doing okay? I went, yeah, you're doing all right. and the crew laughed. But I thought, how sweet is that? How sweet? He thought, well, you're the director, I'm just a... And I think that's why he's where he is because he's someone who is famous as an upshot of what he did, which is become a brilliant actor and care about his art, and now he's directing, and I've got nothing but respect for those people. But there is a big difference.
When you're in an odd spot when it comes to fame, because you kind of in North America skipped all the work. You went in terms of feature films. You went straight to being a cameo.
Yeah, I left out that bit of doing all the hard work.
Yeah, the
and
career
becoming
part is gone.
I went straight to sort of like, you know, a 70-year-old just popping up in something. Yeah, you get me for 3 days.
That's right.
Yeah. Every film I've done up until now has been like 3 days. Well, I did For Your Consideration, Christopher Guest's film, because he's a hero of mine and probably the biggest single influence on particularly my performance.
In that, I mean, Eugene Levy in that, Catherine, like the whole cast is incredible.
It's great, and it's just such a lovely. It's like a reunion. It's their favourite job that year. They get together and I've done 3 days on Night at the Museum. I did 3 days on Stardust, and I've recently done my first lead in a Hollywood film called Ghost Town, where it was like 7 weeks' work, and I complained all the time.
Did you really?
Honestly, I was like J-Lo. I'm a nobody, but I was going, why do we have to get up at 6:30? That was the first day. Really? And they were going, well, we need the light. Oh, what, are we farmers? What do you mean we need the light? Put a lamp up there. You spend 2 hours putting a lamp up, put the lamp at the beginning of the day. Let's just, what are you doing? And honestly, I'm no good at that. But then I did night shoots and I was moaning even more. I like going back to days. So, it was a great experience. It was really amazing because up until then, really, I'd been in charge. Everything I did, I just started. I wrote myself a part. I'd co-directed The Office and extras, and everything I've done, it's been my thing, take it or leave it. And this was the first time where there was millions of pounds being spent on me, but I wasn't in charge. And so that was, I was out of my comfort zone of it for a little while, only because I'm a lazy little spoilt brat.
Do you take direction well? If someone says, Ricky, it's a little too much like the guy in The Office, I need you to be a little bit more like the character.
See you later.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll tell you something now. Everything I do is a little bit like the guy in The Office, because I am a very limited actor. Everything I play, the characters, are fat blokes from Reading. I don't do accents. If I played Genghis Khan, he would talk like this. And he'd be this colour with this haircut. I'm not getting early for makeup. It's 2 hours before... it's ridiculous. I'm not going to do it. So you're
here for a good time, not a long time.
Exactly, yeah.
That's your work ethic. I wanted to talk to you about atheism, because I was watching some of your stand-up act, and you sort of tackle religion. You had this really funny bit about creationism.
Yeah.
It's actually a big part of when I listen to your podcast, whenever it comes up.
Well, I think there being no God is a big part of our lives.
Yeah.
We've got no... and people who believe in God, you know, they must realise that he made me an atheist. And he gave me free will to not believe in him, which is his first mistake, I think. That and the talking snake.
That's kind of a bad call.
He's made a few mistakes. The dinosaurs, he put them under the carpet. Forget the dinosaurs. We don't want that. Let's get some with fur. Right. I stopped believing in God when I was about 8.
Do you remember the moment?
I do remember the moment vividly. I was drawing a picture of Samson destroying the temple. I loved Jesus. I thought it was brilliant. He was my hero. Mm-hmm. And I went to church. My mum, a working class mum, that was the best thing to do. If he believes in God, he won't go to prison. That was it. You know. Also, Jesus and God was a free babysitter. If I'm not watching you, God is.
That's right.
Absolutely, it was absolutely, yeah. I was about 8 years old, and when my brother came in and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Sunday school homework," and he started quizzing me. He was going, "What's God then?" And I went, "He's a man that lives in the..." Right. Why do you believe that? And my mum went, "Bob," and I knew immediately.
Something wasn't right.
She was hiding something. He was telling the truth. She was worried about something. And I went, "That's it." Right, so body language, it worked out, and I've been fascinated with body language ever since as well, because The Office was... I wasn't an actor. I'd never acted before, but I knew body language was more important than words.
The written word, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, stick around. More with Ricky Gervais, and we're going to put him to the test. Rapid fire. You ready for it? A couple of minutes of fast questions?
Well, what's the subject?
Yeah. Could be anything.
I take this very seriously. I'm a man, and I can't stand to lose a quiz or...
We'll see how he does. More with Ricky Gervais when the hour returns.